just wanted to make a video about a way that I've sort of discovered to look at things in a more objective way instead of getting caught up in what the fuck? Someone just overtook me. Instead of getting caught up in like stress and getting pissed off at situations that don't actually require you to be pissed off at or anything like that. And it's all about an unconscious choice that we all make when we're faced with any situation, but you're never taught that that's what's going on, that you're actually choosing to react a certain way to any specific situation. So to break it down, it's kind of like, let's just take the physical world and just say that it is physical, that like my steering wheel is actually a physical steering wheel, and that like everything is how it seems. I don't actually think it is that way, but for this ease of explanation, let's just say that that's how it is. So you've got objects, which are humans, animals, insects, whatever, and then inanimate objects as well. We'll just say everything is like objects interacting with one another, causing reactions. But then when it comes to humans, we interpret that information and then filter it through our brain, and then that's where you go wrong. You filter it into good or bad. So you can kind of picture it like, say, you know how your brain is split in two. Let's just pretend this isn't how it is, but just pretend that the left side of your brain is good and the right side's bad. Something will happen. Let's just say someone posts something on Facebook that you don't like, or that just pisses you off for some reason. And then, so what you're going to do is you're going to see that information, and then your brain is going to filter it into bad because you don't like it. But you don't actually have to not like, you don't have to be annoyed at that. You don't have to be pissed off by seeing that. You're choosing that. So yeah, it's like, it's been a really big help for me, especially with like, good example is I wake up at 3:15 most weekday mornings to go to work, because I work at a servo, so we open at 5 and I have to start at about 4:20, 4:30. And then when I first started doing that shift, oh, it sucked. Well, I thought it sucked because my alarm would go off, and then it's 3:15 in the morning, and I'm realising that everyone else is probably like in the best part of their sleep, and I'm waking up, and I used to just lay there and just go, fuck. Oh, I don't want to go to work. But once I started looking at the situation this way, just stepping back, literally, I just say to myself, okay, I have to get up for work. That's it. And then I didn't say anything more. I wouldn't carry the conversation to where I used to, where it would be like, oh, I have to go to work, this fucking sucks. It's just like, no, you just have to go to work. You're making it suck by saying it sucks, when all it is you just getting up and going to work. Objectively, like, that is what's happening. I'm getting out of bed and going to work at an earlier time than I'm used to. But like, now that I'm used to it, and then that early on I applied this to it, it's completely fine. I have no issue with it whatsoever. So yeah, it's a really valuable, if you can learn to just step back and go, you just ask yourself, what is actually happening right now? Say you're in a shop and you're just getting stressed out because of the amount of people around. People are just, I don't know if it, like, stressing you out for whatever reason. You don't have to be stressed out about that. You're choosing the stress. Might sound a bit like you might not believe this at like whatsoever, because it could completely contradict your whole idea of reactions and stuff like that, but I found it to be pretty true in my life, like being able to just stop and see why I'm reacting a certain way, and then just choose to stop reacting that way. Because I see so many people getting caught up in situations, especially now, after learning this, and even still seeing it myself, but seeing in other people, situations that just do not fucking matter at all. And then just seeing them just, they just fucking suck, or like, they're just caught up in this thing that's not real. It's like, that you're just projecting into a situation which is just happening. You have no control over it. Things are happening. Full stop. Like, life is happening. We are alive. I'm talking. That's what's happening. There's no good or bad. Good and bad are completely relative. You can't have good without bad. Vice versa, you can't have bad without good, because you need one to reference the other off of. And it's also a spectrum. Like, if you have good, the furthest of good, you could say it's like pure ecstasy, or like enlightenment, or just like pure unconditional happiness, where under no conditions require you to be, well, I'm not saying that right, you're happy under just all circumstances. And then for bad, the worst of bad, you could picture picture you're trapped in limbo, like you're constantly dying, and that's your reality for the rest of your life. Like, the initial feelings that would bring up in you could say that or just say like fucking burning in hell, whatever that would feel like. I imagine that to be pretty bad. But yeah, it's a full spectrum, and then we're just receiving all this information through our senses, through touch, taste, smell, seeing, and hearing. And then all of a sudden, having to get up and go and do the dishwasher is negative. So I used to hate not hate, but whenever I get asked to do like a chore, and just feel like, yeah, alright, yeah, I'll get up and do it. When it's just like, what do you actually have to do? Oh, I have to go and unstack dishes and put them in the cupboard. Go put them in their spots where they belong. Okay. Do you have to do anything else? No. Why are you complaining about it then? It's so good. It's so good. It's so valuable. It saved me from just so much unnecessary negative emotions. Like, more just like, save me from being annoyed at situations or people. Like, another really good example is, say, if I'm at work and a customer comes in right at the time where I'm like, oh fuck, I need to do this, and then they come up and they're just like, just taking ages to decide what they want. Should I get this? Should I get that? And then I'd start just going in my head, come on, fucking hurry up, I need to do this, But I had, like, it's not their fault that my poor time management pushed this job further past when it's meant to be done. Like, it's not some dude's fault who's just coming in to get a pie and a nice coffee for lunch. It's got nothing to do with him. That's completely on me. But then getting stressed out because he's in there, he's in here, taking a while to decide what he wants for lunch, which is what I fucking do every time I have to decide. Like, it's when you can step back and analyze it and see for what it is and just go, holy shit. Like, why is that negative? when it's not. It's completely, it's just a thing that's happening. I got caught up talking, or I got caught up doing something. Time passed. That job I was supposed to be doing at this point in time got pushed further along. Customer comes in, uses up more of the time, and then I start blaming him for that. It's so stupid. But even then you could say it's not stupid, it's just... oh, it's... yeah. But yeah, it's just fucking... it's awesome. Still got a while to go. I still get situations where I'm just so used to reacting this way, where it's hard to... it's more just time. It takes time. You gotta really just like keep it, just like force it right up the fucking front of your mind. Just keep it in your mind, so that once you do that enough, you have to start saying it to yourself. Like, say if you're getting up out of bed early is a really good example, because a lot of the time you just want to, you're comfy in bed, you're warm, and you just want to sleep in. You don't want to get up and go do whatever you've got to do. But for that one, you just say, I'm going to get up. Full stop. You just don't say anything else. You don't need to. There's nothing else. There's no ifs or buts. There's no, but it just fucking, no, it just doesn't do anything. It's just you getting out of bed. That's all that's happening. But yeah. And it also kind of plays into unconditional happiness and unconditional contentment, where if you apply this, it sort of pushes you further towards that, where you can just be happy wherever you are, with whoever's with you. If you're just by yourself, if you're fucking, I don't know, climbing a tree or driving to work or at work or with some mates or something. It's really good to be able to just not get caught up on things. To just like kind of just like flowing, I guess, like driftwood down a stream, instead of this big fucking heavy log that just gets caught on all these rocks. Because those rocks are there, but you don't have to be like that. I guess it doesn't really make sense. I don't know how you transform a big tree into driftwood. I guess time. Unconditional happiness, something I feel, and that's also about deriving happiness from within, from you, not from like not from getting something, an item, or being with someone, then you're like, now I'm happy, now I'm content. It's like you don't actually need that. It's hard to start progressing towards it because we're all so used to like buying things. And then you get it and you're like, fuck yeah, I got this. And then it's like, but when I get the next one, I'm gonna be so stoked. Like it feels like it's bumping it up. But what it's doing, it kind of bumps it up and then drops off in the background. And then it feels like it's going up a staircase. But that staircase just doesn't end. It doesn't lead anywhere. If you're just constantly just like, just seeking happiness from external sources. When if you practice, and you actually try, you actually put the work in. This is a big thing. You really actually have to like do it and like actually put in the work, not just like listen to a video like this or read a quote or read a book. That's gonna help. It's gonna give you information, but it's not gonna give you the experience. It's not gonna give you, like, it'll, hopefully, it gives you motivation, or even just plants a little fucking seed, and then you can just start, it just slow roasts, and then slowly it starts growing into a little plant, and then flourishing into a big tree. And then that's when the real progress starts to happen. Because you're putting in the work, and then you can look back and go, holy fuck. Hang on, when I get asked to mow the lawn, I can just do it. I don't care, I'll just do it. And it's like the feeling I get when I get asked, it's like neutral. You can even just bringing yourself up to neutral from getting caught up on negative situations that you are making negative yourself is so good. And that's another thing. You gotta take responsibility. You gotta really fucking own up to your shit that you feed yourself. Like, just the bullshit that you wash over everything, blame that you put out there. It's you. That's you fucking projecting what you're insecure about. That's what you're projecting, your fears, projecting your biases onto objects or situations which just happen. Life's happening, like. But at the same time, me saying this, it's not like I'm some god and I don't get caught up in these little moralistic sort of situations or whatever. But it's just really, really, really valuable and useful, especially at this age when your brain's like pushing towards finishing its growth. It's really valuable to just go through it and clean out all the fucking social conditioning, all the bullshit, all of your tendencies, all these compulsive tendencies, and just replace it with like, just be as objective as you can possibly be, like really, really step as far back as you can and just have a look. Another thing is just ask yourself as many questions as you can about whatever situation it is that's affecting you. Like, why don't I like this person? Why am I frustrated when I see this on social media? Why don't I like the noise of the fan on when I sleep? Like, all that stuff, you can just let it go. You can just get to a point where it just doesn't bother you. That's where the work comes in. That's where you gotta, because what happens is when you're working on something, for me, I start by just trying to think of that thing, and then slowly, step by step, as you are faced with more and more of those situations, it sort of like jogs your memory, and then your brain will just go, oh yeah, do this, or don't do that. And it's really helpful, because if you do that enough, you're conscious about it enough, it becomes unconscious. Those thoughts arise because you've trained your brain to bring that information up into your conscious mind, and then slowly it starts sort of just like doing it itself and then affecting you, and then and then that's when you start getting the results, and you start not choosing to be affected negatively or too positively or whatever, or stressed out. Really, really good for high stress environments. I haven't really been able to test this yet. I don't have a very stressful life, but I know for a fact that it is, because it's what the Stoics talk about in the Stoic philosophy, where it's like they talk about offense and how you choose to be offended by something and you don't have to. Like, one of the main dudes I forget his name, but he used to go out into the town or whatever and wear like a pink coloured tunic or something, whatever used to be offensive back then, just to toughen himself up, and then also to make him realise that he doesn't have to be affected by what people think. That's another one. People's opinions. Like, you can just not be triggered by it. You can just not be offended by it if you work on it. But yeah, I think that's kind of rambled on a bit. Got a bit sidetracked, but this is my first one, so I don't know. Hopefully you found at least a little bit of it interesting, or maybe you'll be able to apply it in your life. Even just do some research on it. Look up Stoic philosophy. Really can't recommend it enough. It's like exactly in line with this video about looking at things objectively and not being offended by stuff, not choosing the negative route in terms of a reaction. But yeah, really valuable stuff. I may have completely butchered it, but oh well. Alright.